Welcome back, everyone, to another Post to Post podcast. And if you're new to the show, welcome to the Post to Post podcast. With me, as always, is my co-host, Chris Ronan. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, brother. Work week's over.
Friday for us, Monday for everyone listening in.
Very nice.
I don't know why I say that. I feel like this is the fifth time I said Happy Friday, yet all listeners are just like, it's Monday.
Well, it is Friday here.
Yep,
So
Friday here.
Happy Friday to us, too.
Yep. So how's your week been?
Yeah, not too shabby. The usual. Busy month. A lot of stuff going on in May.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
A lot of people getting married?
Nothing like that. Bachelor party next weekend, though. Just a lot of stuff.
I think I'm getting very lucky. I'm under the table right now. I think it's at our age right now. We're just like everyone's getting married. I feel like every month, but I haven't gotten any invites. Nothing yet. So gotta cruise on in, and hopefully everything's nice and smooth.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. But with that said, we have a lot of hockey news. Not even just NHL playoff news, but hockey news to get into. Shall we get into it?
Yeah, let's start it off with a signing by the Nashville Predators. They have signed goalie Yaroslav Askarov to a 3-year entry-level deal, and they also signed their head coach John Hines and his staff to a 2-year extension. So locking up some net front presence. Askarov backing up UC Saros. I think that's going to be a great tandem down the line. Askarov was a highly touted prospect in the World Juniors. He kind of underperformed. I think he was very aggressive and active with his stick, and it kind of showed a little bit. He was definitely the number one available goalie at the time, and I think he hurt his stock a little bit at the World Juniors. What do you got?
Right. He reminds me, Yaroslav Askarov, he plays for SKA, the Russian league. It kind of reminded me of, I think he was for the Slovakia. It was Yaroslav Yanis back in the day. I'll try to put a photo of him down there. I don't think you know him at all, but
No.
just his style just really reminds me of him. He's a right-gloved goalie. There's a few videos of him up on YouTube, and he played for the IIHF. Was it like mid-COVID or something like that? And he played really, really well. So this is going to be a good pickup for the Predators. I feel like getting like a Russian European type goalie that can get the job done and be good to help UC Saros.
I see this as I look at the Florida Panthers and their situation with Spencer Knight. I think Askarov can be the same thing to the Predators organization that Knight is to the Florida Panthers. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really good on the Predators to say, hey, we had a tough season this year, but we're not bailing on our coach, our guy. He knows how to build this organization and run a team. So we're sticking with John Hines for the next 2 years at least and keeping his staff underneath him as well. So I like to see that.
Mm-hmm. Me too. We got some other coach news here too. The New York Islanders' Lane Lambert, assistant coach since 2018, was named Islanders head coach this week. He's been coaching in the NHL since 2011 with the Nashville Predators, and then in 2014 the Washington Capitals before going to the Islanders. Got to do something with Barry Trotz out, so he might be just like a temporary fix until they find something new, or he could be just the head coach. We have no idea. But from since we started the podcast, this has been kind of like something that's been like a norm, I guess. Like they bring up an assistant coach to like head coach for a bit before they can solidify someone. So this Lane Lambert could be just like that fill-in for a bit. You know?
Yeah, I mean, in moving on from Barry Trotz, it seemed like the team was trying to go in what was called a new direction, but taking Lane Lambert, who is clearly Barry Trotz's guy, and promoting him into the head coach role, that doesn't seem like that's the fill if you're telling me they're going in the new direction. Because he's worked with Barry Trotz on the Washington Capitals, like you said before this, up until 2018, and then transitioned and came with Barry Trotz when he came over to the Islanders. So for you to can a guy like Barry Trotz and then just promote the next guy up, like that doesn't seem like that's going to fly.
No.
And I think, honestly, if they do pick someone else, wherever Barry Trotz lands, I think Lane Lambert's going to be following suit if there's an open position for an assistant coach on his team. Mm-hmm. So that's what I got there.
Nice. And let's do your team. You could do it.
Yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights actually released Peter DeBoer from his head coach duties. Kind of surprising a little bit here, but also not. Pete DeBoer was the head coach of San Jose before he came over to Vegas, and it seemed like the fan base was kind of baffled and a little bit upset, like kind of hurt that Vegas would even pick this guy after the rivalry series that they had in the playoffs and all the issues and all the stuff that went on there. So He came in, he underperformed this season, but I wouldn't say he did last season. There were a lot of hurdles this year. It is kind of weird to see them move on, and I think where they fell in the standings and the way the season ended, it just seems like an excuse to get rid of Peter DeBoer and a way out.
Right. That's all it is. But we've been talking about the up in management for the Vegas Golden Knights, and they're just trying to scapegoat shit, you know?
Yeah, just another weird move and someone to put the blame on, I think.
Right.
The Golden Knights actually also announced that the Savannah Ghost Pirates are their new ECHL affiliate, and they'll be operating out of Savannah, Georgia. So I thought that was pretty cool. I've heard a lot of good things about the town of Savannah, too.
Interesting. Another Atlanta hockey team that we haven't seen since the Atlanta Thrashes since 2000. Fuck, when did the Jets become a thing? That was 2009?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
10? Fuck, one of those. I put both of us on the spot right there. Jesus, we know hockey, right? Yeah, but Atlanta, big. I wonder if there's another Atlanta team that I'm thinking about. I didn't decide to Google this at all, but it was fun to see a Georgia hockey team. It's like, okay, well, all right. They're getting hockey back in Atlanta, Georgia. And
I think Savannah is an up-and-coming city. I hear a lot of people around here are going to visit there. It's a very art-forward and modern city, and I think that the NHL looks at certain cities and, like, it's the East Coast Hockey League, obviously, right? So it's got to be on the east side of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they see this as an up-and-coming place. And I would compare it to almost like a Nashville. Like, it's a destination that people are traveling to, and why not try and make some money there is the way I look at that. So we did have one more coaching change as well. The Dallas Stars have announced they'll not be renewing the contracts of head coach Rick Bowness and his staff. Bowness also released a statement that said he would be stepping down from the position. So a little he said, she said kind of, but I don't think it was in a negative sense. I think reporters just kind of jumped the gun and wanted to be the first of the punch.
Right.
And Bowness had actually been behind the bench for more games than any NHL coach, over 2,500 games, which is insane.
That's crazy to me. From what I very quickly read, it was something to do with his wife and kids, something like that, where he just wanted to step down and just take more time with his family. So great to see from just a great coach overall from Rick Bowness. I wish he could have done more with the Dallas Stars. They tried their hardest during the playoffs here, but
regular season games alone, 2,500 games is more than 30 NHL seasons. So I think it's all right. It's safe to say that he should probably retire at this point. That is a long time in the league.
Bunzos.
Yeah.
Yep. So congratulations to Rick Bonus. If only we could do that.
Beach it up. We'll get there someday.
Yep, one day.
Another 35 years in the industry and we're good. We did have one retirement announcement to make here. Washington's Alexander Semin, whose name you probably haven't heard since 2015, has announced his retirement from the NHL after playing 650 games with the Washington Capitals, Carolina Hurricanes, and Montreal Canadiens. He had over 239 career goals and 517 career points in an 11-year career. Semin left the NHL in 2015 to play in the KHL, where he captained Vityaz Podolsk and was invited to represent his club at the 2020 KHL All-Star Game.
That's awesome. Alexander Semin, by to jog everyone's memory, was with Ovi back in the day. He was his guy. Semin would score a lot too, but he was Ovi's guy too for assists. He was a great player back in the day, 2008, 2009. Alex Semin was a huge name, and they kind of just fell off. And then when we got this information, I was like, oh my God, where's he been? Like, I thought he already retired, and come to find out he's been in the KHL just kind of hanging around,
Racking it up.
Yep. So congratulations to Alex Semin. To move on from that, too, the Bill Masterton Memorial Trophy nominees have been announced as well. The award exemplifies sportsmanship, perseverance, and dedication to hockey. The nominees for the season are Kevin Hayes from the Philadelphia Flyers, Carey Price from the Montreal Canadiens, and Zdeno Chara from the New York Islanders. 3 big names here.
Yeah, and I think the cool part about each of these guys is sportsmanship, perseverance, and dedication to hockey. I think each of these guys exemplify a certain aspect of it. Like Chara, I think, is the sportsmanship part of it. Perseverance for Carey Price, getting over his issues with, I don't want to say addiction, but we seem to think that that's kind of what it was, right? I think he came out and said it had to do with addiction. Am I wrong?
No, you're completely wrong.
I thought he had issues with pain pills and stuff too.
So he had problems with depression, and then he was like mental health, and then he was also having problems with just because he got injured with his his right leg, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he was trying to come back from it.
Yeah, November 9th, 2021, treated for substance use and was in a, quote, very dark place. So a little bit of addiction there too.
Oh, okay. All right. Completely missed that.
I think Kevin Hayes, his dedication to hockey after getting back to the game after his brother passes. So I thought it was really cool to see each of these guys, take a part of the award. And, it's great to see. This is the hardest award to give away in the league, the way I look at it, right? Like, all three of these guys deserve it. Chara has been so dedicated to the game and playing into the age that he is. And it's tough to pick one guy over the other. But in my opinion, I think it has to go to Kevin Hayes. Like, losing a brother and then returning to the game not too shortly after, you know what I mean?
Right,
like,
exactly.
And to be in that, that kind of a mental state and to get back to the locker room and be with the boys, as much as it sucks being on as bad of a team as the Flyers were this season, like, you could tell that the locker room was still really good and everyone was happy there. Yandel, Hayes, who's the other guy? The third guy that's in the mix with them? I forget. But, yeah, shout out to those guys.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Kevin Hayes. I'm not just saying that just because I'm from Dorchester, just because I grew up with the family and everything. But yeah, you're right. You lose Jimmy, you come back, and from what I'm hearing, Kevin Hayes also brought in Keith Yandel. I guess they're both living together too, and to help Keith Yandel out after coming from Florida Panthers. Kevin on his Instagram and everything, he's always helping out Jimmy's wife and their child. He's always over there. Him and Keith Yandel always over there helping out. So it's a crazy bounce back from Kevin to lose not even just a family member, but like your older brother who you've been with day in and day out through growing up with him too. It's like basketball, soccer, hockey, you name it. They've done it all. They've both gotten to the professionals at that point, and to just like see the positives and everything and come through at like at such like a positive mindset too. It's just great, and I'm really not just saying that because we know him,
Yeah, I just think that was a big storyline in the league, and I don't want to poo-poo Carey Price's situation.
Right,
he didn't exactly 100%. Like come back and play in enough time, in my opinion, to deserve the award this year.
Yeah,
if he has a major bounce back year next year, it kind of stinks where this award looks at like the one season, If it can be stretched over the two, I think Carey Price could be that storyline.
That's
for
where
next year.
my mindset was too. Yeah.
And Chara on the Islanders, huge sportsmanship, but it's just a very like an old age story almost. You know what I mean? And he didn't exactly light it up on the New York Islanders. He was a big role, and he's doing a ton for that organization. But that compared to the other two stories is just not the same. No. And then we also had the Selke Trophy nominees being announced this week, too. This is for the best two-way forward in the league. Elias Lindholm from Calgary, Alexander Barkov in Florida, and Patrice Bergeron in Boston.
I feel like you don't want to say it, but I feel like we got to give it to Bergie. Because I think Bergeron, we might have seen the last of him. I think he might be retiring soon.
I could see it. I think the hard part with these kind of awards is factoring out the playoffs. Because when I look at the playoffs, I see Florida and Calgary still going, and I would lean to them. But, that's not part of this award at all. Yeah. The first round of the playoffs, Bergeron was brutal in the faceoffs, and that was the big part of being a two-way forward in the league and the impact that Bergeron has on the game. That's all postseason stuff that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Now, when I look at a team like the Florida Panthers and the Calgary Flames and the Boston Bruins, one of those teams sticks out way more than the rest, and I think that's why Alexander Barkov is going to win the Selke this year. He has been an unsung, underrated player for the past, seems like 5 years, but you can't call someone underrated 5 years in a row and have him still be underrated. At a certain point, he's not underrated anymore, and this is the year that I think he gets his recognition, and I'd love to see Alexander Barkov get it. And that's me just not really knowing much of the stats on these three guys at all when it comes to this award. So.
Right. But, yeah, I'm 100% with you. Barkov. I mean, I've been pumping the tires of the Florida Panthers even before the playoffs even started. So,
yeah, you were harping on me for calling the Colorado Avalanche the best team in the league when Florida Panthers came up and took that away from them at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But
and now here we are.
Here we are. Let's hope they match up.
We'll be talking about that pretty soon too.
Yeah, stay tuned. And the Arizona Coyotes want to stay relevant here. They presented the custom Kachina jerseys to Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, and Warren G. I thought that was pretty sweet. I think Snoop got number 99, which is kind of weird considering Gretzky's part owner. That number's retired. Yep. Ice Cube gets number 1, and Warren G gets number 213, which was interesting. His jersey actually said Regulators on the back, too, which was sick. So
interesting.
Throwback to the 90s hip-hop fans out there.
Want
And
some
then,
more Arizona news?
yeah, what do you got? They can't have their logo at center ice, right?
Dead
Is
on.
that where you're going to go?
Dead on.
So since they're playing at Arizona State University, they will not be allowed to put their logo at center ice because it's not their arena. So get effed.
Fun fact. So we talked about this. I when I came here tonight, we actually did talk about this, and I feel like I should say it now because me and my coworkers actually kind of went down like this rabbit hole when I talked about, yeah, they're an ASU, they can't have their fucking logo on their ice, and then so then we actually thought, wait a minute, this could actually be good for the Arizona Coyotes. You're in ASU, 5,000 seat capacity, which makes it like very like a prestigious. What am I trying to say? Like a pristine spot to be. Like there's only
There's not going to be a bad seat in the house.
No, there's not going to be a bad seat in the house, and only 5,000 seats, which means tickets are going to be a rarity since you want to see it.
And the best part, I'm going to jump in. The best part about it being a rarity there is it makes it normal ticket prices compared to other places.
Right, exactly. You have ASU. You have ASU there, which is a huge party college too. You have all those college students joining there too. You have all like the hockey fans that just want to see this rink in like a small part. Now, for like a guy's week, like vacation or something like that, me and my coworker broke this down. Where the rink is. For the Arizona Coyotes, because I've been talking about, I never really want to go to a Vegas Golden Knights game. I never really want to go to Vegas until a Vegas Golden Knights came to be. And then you realize you can go get tickets to that Arizona Coyotes game, enjoy that 5,000 seat game, because it's probably going to be like a one and done maybe after this season. And then it's a 4-hour drive from there to Vegas to enjoy Vegas and to go to the Vegas Golden Knights game. And I think that right there would be a solid week.
I think that this is going to be the best way for the NHL to grow the game at all levels because now, like you said, you have the older generation that's on a bachelor party, on a guy's trip to Vegas, on a girl's trip to Vegas, and they're hockey fans and they want to get out and see a game. They can do a doubleheader and watch the Vegas Golden Knights in Vegas, have like half a week in Vegas or however many days, right?
Mm-hmm,
drive and fly into Vegas, right? And then drive 4 hours over to Arizona, go to an Arizona Coyotes game at the Arizona State University arena, kill some time out there. I don't know, play some golf. Arizona's a great state for golf if anyone likes golfing. And then fly out from Arizona. So you don't have to drive 4 hours there, 4 hours back. You've now tag team 2 NHL arenas, got some awesome golf in, hit the casinos, hit some other things in Vegas that I'm not going to say on air, and then flew back home and had an amazing week, right?
Right.
And I think the other side of it that I see for the younger generation is if I'm a kid that's graduating high school and one of my friends is going to Arizona State University, I'm hitting them up, I'm buying tickets, I'm flying out to visit them at Arizona State, ripping it up for the weekend and going to the Coyotes game.
And staying at the Arizona State college dorms.
Yep. Probably having like a student rate on the ticket for a certain area, certain number of students, you know what I mean?
Right.
There's got to be a student section that they're going to get like, I don't know, 20 seats out of 5,000, you know?
100%. You got to see the positives and things, and I swear to God, like, this is a massive positive for the Arizona Coyotes. If they can reel in the money this season, they'll be...
Yeah, and the best part is maybe they just don't pay their bills again. That'd be sick. Now you're really rolling in the dough. Just straight making money, not paying any bills.
Just feed Phil Kessel those college...
He doesn't eat hot dogs.
College hot dogs.
I'm not going to say it on air anymore. He doesn't eat hot dogs.
I don't know. It's a thing now. It's just a thing. Give Phil the hot dogs. Give Phil the college ASU hot dogs. He'll love them. Love them. But moving on from that, we have two more different hockey news before we get into the Stanley Cup playoffs here. For the NCAA, Florida Panthers draft pick turned Buffalo Sabre after being part of that Sam Reinhart deal to Florida. Goalie Devon Levy was awarded the 2022 Mike Richter Award, which is an award given to the NCAA Division I goalie, voted as most outstanding. Levi broke records this season for Northeastern University with a .952 save percentage, a Northeastern University record and second all-time best in NCAA history. He's also got a 1.54 GAA, another NU record, and third best in NCAA history, and 10 shutouts, another NU record, and ties for second in NCAA history. So congratulations to Devon Levy. As soon As soon as I read this, the first thing that came to mind, too, is Aaron Frankel. Apparently, Northeastern University is just pumping out fantastic goaltending. Aaron Frankel and Devon Levy.
Yeah, it's great to see. We've talked about both of those goalies like all season long. They popped up in headlines like at least 3 or 4 times throughout the NCAA season. And congrats to him for winning the Mike Richter Award. That's awesome to see, right?
That's awesome.
And then we have a little touch up here in the CHL. Chloe Primerano, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is the first woman skater to be selected in any CHL selection draft. Picked 268th overall by the Vancouver Giants. Last season, at the age of 15, she had 19 points through 30 games with the Burnaby Winter Club U15 prep team.
That is awesome. I feel like we haven't had, we've been busy with a bunch of other stuff, but I feel like we're on a solid roll with, women in hockey for a bit. It hasn't been in a while, and we came across this, which is great that it's still going, you know?
Yeah, I think it's been probably 2 maybe 3 months since the Premier Hockey Federation ended their season, so the news kind of stopped there for them. We were breaking a lot of barriers in the regular season for a lot of these other leagues, NHL included, and then the news kind of stops there because the barrier's been broken, they're getting in, and it just becomes a ton of them doing it, which is great. So it's a good thing that it's out of the headlines.
Right,
and
100%.
It's, you know what I mean? In the best way.
That
That sounds so terrible to say. It's a good thing it's out of the headlines, but it shouldn't be a headline, and now it's not going to be in the future,
Right.
is what I'm getting at.
What we're saying is, now it's a normal thing, you know? It's not...
Yeah. So shout out to her, U15 prep team. So little ad read for you people here. Massachusetts hockey moms and dads looking for a training camp for your son or daughter this summer? Head on over to thehockeyedge.com to check out their amazing program they have going on. Their program includes 8 hours of skills and games per week throughout July and August. Their amazing staff will take your kid's game to the next level with current NHL guest coaches Charlie Coyle and Connor Garland. Registration includes daily lunches and snacks, as well as pickup and drop-off schedules in the greater Boston and South Shore area. Registration starts at $3.95 a week, and please be sure to let them know the guys at Post to Post sent you. Mm-hmm. So with that settled up, we're going to be going on to a round 1 recap here.
Can I tell everyone where to find that?
Absolutely.
So everyone who wants to register or look into more information, go to thehockeyedge.com. Once again, I'll say this. It's thehockeyedge.com. If you watch us on YouTube, I'll have that link in the description for you guys.
Yeah, I had to be sure to double check and ask and see what the age range was. It's 5 to 14, so I can't sign myself up to go hang out with Charlie Coyle and Connor Garland. That would have been sick.
Unfortunate.
But, maybe they'll need a goalie coach in the future. So
it is what it is.
Yeah. So round 1 recap coming up here, boys and girls. A small Minnesota and St. Louis series note here. Matt Dumba ended up playing in the playoffs in the first round with a dislocated rib, a broken rib, and a punctured lung.
So you hear about this after the Stanley Cup. Someone wins the Stanley Cup, and then you're just like, dude, this guy played with broken ribs and stuff. I just thought this was cool because it really shows what these NHL guys go through. You need to be a tough son of a bitch to be in the NHL, you know? Baseball, you bruise your finger and as a pitcher, and you're just out for weeks on end. And you get soccer, you bruise an ankle, and you're just you're out, you know? The hockey guys, nope, my job is on the line. Stanley Cup is on the line. I'm letting down my teammate. I literally have a punctured lung, and I'm gonna get through this to help my team out, you know?
I think a large part of that too. I don't know how these guys make these decisions and say my lung is punctured, but I'm going to try and play through this. At the end of the day, as good as I am as a player in Matt Dumba or anyone, you name the name across the league, playing injured, how do you know as a player, my team and myself are better off being in the lineup playing at, X% versus full health over some other guy that's going to be in the lineup? You know what I mean?
Right.
How do you factor that in? That must be a very hard decision for them to make. To fight through something like that is one thing, but it's also I'm not going to be a detriment to my team doing this, you know?
Doing this, yep,
so,
100%. Especially in the case of Matt Dumba, we were just you are a big name. You are a big player, you know? So, you falling out would crush a team. You played 86 games throughout the season. 82 games throughout the season where, you fought your way to this point, and you got to find a way to just, help
power
your team
through.
get through it.
Yeah. We did have a little Washington note here, too. They ended up losing their series to the Florida Panthers in 6 games, which we closed out last episode with Josh Bailey. Check that one out if you haven't listened to it yet. Ovechkin actually didn't hold back any of his comments in the post-series interview. This was kind of interesting to see.
Right.
He was asked to speak on his team not winning a playoff series since they won the Stanley Cup in 2018, which is surprising to me. I did not realize that. He says, quote, "We have it, but we just blow it away. It's on us. It's on me, Oshie, Backy, blah, blah, blah. It's on everyone. It's a fucked up situation," he says. So pretty choice words for the captain there.
You're not one of the best players in the league if you don't have that competitive spirit, you know?
Yeah, it's just that last line of the quote is really what the media gripped onto. It's a fucked up situation.
Right.
When it comes to the organization, they're going to look at that under a spot and be like, you know, maybe Ovechkin ends up in the GM or the president's office and says, like, what's the issue? You know, if you think it's bad, like, what can we do to get there?
Yeah.
And with it, we're gonna get into it later on with a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, they're gonna say the same thing. It's a fucked up situation. We just can't win. And it's when you sit in the president's office and they ask you, what is it? What do we need? What are we missing? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know.
Like,
it's your job to know.
But it's also like, as a fan, as a GM, anything. Like, I don't see a problem with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, they have everything that they need, and same thing with the Washington Capitals. I think they need a couple more years, and at that point, Ovi's going to be gone. But it's a different story for every team. But it's just
100%. Yeah.
It's just a crazy question to look at. You know what I mean?
It's like how do you say what do we need? Like
there are teams where there are things that they need. You know what I mean? But I think I was getting too carried away with the Toronto example because like I don't know what they need.
Right.
You know?
I don't know what they need either. But how do you say as Ovechkin you're the captain of the team, right? Say, like, goaltending just isn't what you need. But here's Vitek Vanacek, who's been playing on his head after taking over for Holtby after him leaving, you know? And just, like, how do you tell a head organization, be like, I don't know, we need better goaltending, and you put Vitek Vanacek in just such a, like, weird shit spot, you know, when he's, like, you're the captain of the team, and like you're one of his friends, like a player. So
and sometimes that happens. Sometimes that's okay, but sometimes it's not.
It's not. Yeah, it's not okay at all. So I don't know. You're right. Every team is different. Some players. I think I've said this like even before in the playoffs where there's teams that are just missing this one small thing, and we just can't figure out what it is. And it could be just something small as like a fix. Like it could be anything between taking like a defenseman that you have that's playing okay to bringing up this AHL guy or OHL guy or whatever that's better than him somehow in like some different way. That is the final piece of the puzzle that you're missing, you know? It's something so small, and I think we're seeing that with the Capitals because I don't know, seeing them are just like, holy shit, like, you're a great team. I when I was watching that Capitals-Florida Panthers series, I was just like, holy shit, the Caps can defeat the Florida Panthers, who are the number one team in the, like, entire league. So I don't understand, like, what they're missing, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's something small.
That's yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But we can move into these other series and wrap up the first round so we can get into the second here.
Right.
These are games that we didn't get to because we recorded on Friday and then episode dropped on a Monday. So Carolina versus Boston last week, Game 7. Carolina ends up winning the games 3-2 to move on to the second round. And the Carolina social media just rubs it right in the Bruins fans' faces, taking Twitter smack talk screenshots and posting them in a compilation, mocking Bruins fans for telling the Hurricanes that they didn't have a chance to beat the Bruins.
I could have swore I saw my brother in that.
I think he did. I think I saw him a couple times, actually. They tagged him twice.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have anything on that series. I'm going to cover it later on, I think. But Auntie Ranta, I always say it like that. It's Auntie Ranta. I fuck it up every time. He is just stealing games somehow, and it's just amazing to me that a backup goalie is getting the job done for that team.
Got it done tonight.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I didn't really have too much on that.
Okay. Yeah, this is just closing out series, too, as well. So we're going to move on to the Pittsburgh Penguins versus New York Rangers, who the New York Rangers won in Game 7. Again, we're just catching up here. Game 6, the New York Rangers wins 5-3. Hilarious clip from Game 6 where Zibanejad asked to see an iPad so he can look at the clip of him hitting the post on a breakaway earlier. Kreider, being the captain he is, rips the iPad out of his hand and throws it on the bench. He tells Zibanejad not to sweat it and instills confidence in this guy with his leg tap. Zibanejad goes on to score later in the game thanks to this. I love seeing this clip. I absolutely loved it. It really showed Chris Kreider as such a solid captain for a team. Just like,
Yeah.
nope, you're playing well. Stop looking at that iPad. Whatever you did, it was still good. You just messed up just a little bit. Keep going.
It was so good, and it was so funny to me how emotionless Zibanejad was during the whole thing. Like, he grabs the iPad, he's staring at it, it gets taken out of his hand. He just, like, looks at Kreider blankly, and he fucking throws it on the bench, and then comes back and is like, don't worry about it, dude. Like, we'll be all right, and then, like, slaps him on the leg. And then he gets out there and scores, Like,
Right.
I thought that was great.
I love how you wrote instills confidence, because that's exactly what it is. It's just like, you did nothing wrong at all. Keep playing the way you're playing. You're playing fantastic, and here he is scoring the game.
It would have been so funny to see the other end of this storyline if the Pittsburgh Penguins go on to win that game, because just Zibanejad looking at the iPad, Kreider doing the same thing, right? Imagine it, right? He looks at the iPad, Kreider takes away, throws it on the ground, slaps him on the leg. Zibanejad's just blank. And then they end up losing. Like, I think you could paint that whole thing in such a bad light as well. You know what I mean?
100%.
It's so funny. But it was a great clip. I thought it was, like, very meme-worthy. And then we actually have another little note here from Zero to Hero. Matt McHugh, the Penguins fan who got dusted in Game 3, is now engaged to his girlfriend who refused to kiss him.
Whoa!
So congratulations to the two of you.
Wow.
Glad you guys figured that one out.
We were dusting him last episode. Wow. Look at him go.
Atta boy.
From zero to hero.
Sealed the deal.
Loved it. Sealed the deal.
But the Penguins are out of the playoffs, so. And Game 7, the Rangers end up winning 4-3 in overtime. Jake Gensel scored that amazing goal. He kicked the puck up, like it was in the air bouncing. He kicks it up to himself and bats it in with his stick, like right on Shesterkin's glove.
His glove, yeah.
Right? That was wild.
That was almost very controversial. I didn't realize. So the stick can be above the crossbar. It's where the puck hits the stick. So say if the stick's at an angle, if the puck hits the stick at the angle where the stick is flushed to like the post, it's still considered a goal, and that's where Gensel scored. That's why I was telling you, it was like, oh, this could be called back, but it wasn't. Dude, Gensel was on fire. I think to this right now, currently, he's still up there with like the highest scoring player in the playoffs so far this postseason.
Yeah, it's weird to say, but definitely an underrated Pittsburgh player. You know what I mean? Like, 100%. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves for all that.
Oh yeah.
I also thought this goal was going to be controversial in the sense that where he's making contact with that puck is right at where the puck is on Shesterkin's glove. Obviously, it's not covered, so you can kind of do anything, but when it comes to pushing a glove and a pad into the net, that can become a thing too. So
100%.
I thought it was going to get called back because of that. But.
And more Pittsburgh news here. Crosby and Jari both returned to play in Game 7, but it wasn't enough to get the job done. Panarin scores the game winner on a power play goal in overtime. After the game, it came out that Jari had played through a broken foot, returning to his first NHL game since April 14th. And my question to you with that is, you have Louis Domingue, who's been in. Casey DeSmith came out pretty late, but you have Tristan Jarry, who's not really fully recovered from that broken foot at all. Though, granted, Game 7, Tristan Jarry played on his head. He was fantastic in that game. But as a manager, would you say Tristan Jarry go in the net during Game 7?
Yeah, I'm all on board for that, even with the Penguins losing. Your guy Louis Domingue was great in the first half of the series, but now you were at one point up 3-1 in the series, and now it's 3-3. And Jari says, "I want to play. I can be there and get this done." And this is your guy that stole the starting position from Casey DeSmith, and it's kind of comes down to the Tuukka Rask controversy from last season when he says, "I want to be in and I want to play" when he's injured. But at the end of the day, Domingue has dropped 2 games in a row. And now the series is tied. So, I mean, you can switch up the mojo in something like that and trust your starter to be ready to play, which I think he was, even in a 4-3 overtime
100%.
loss.
It was like post-game where someone took a photo of him, and it's the right leg, the right foot, I should say. It was just like he had a huge bag of ice over it.
Yeah, taped up, fucking liquor store 5-pound bag of ice.
I mean, we just talked about Matt Dumba playing through a broken rib cage and stuff, but I think for a goaltender, just like broken foot is especially when you're on your feet the entire time and having to push left and right. I think that's a big it's just a rough call for just especially Game 7. But again, Tristan Jarry played on his head. He played fantastic in that Game 7. So
it was a very fun Game 7 to watch.
Yeah, he's definitely their guy. And so to move on from Tristan Jarry here, with that game in the books, the New York Rangers came back from being down 3-1 in that series to win that series. I don't think I was paying attention at all to them being down or up, but I was so shocked that 3 games straight, they're just like, I'm going to take it, Unbelievable.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of talk around the New York Rangers saying that they're not good enough 5-on-5. It seems to be the power play that gets things done. And if you ask me, like, that's definitely a bad thing. But at the end of the day, these other playoff teams are not performing well on the power play. And if you have that advantage over them, if you can maintain, a plus-minus of around even in 5-on-5 and get your power play points where you can, like, that's where it's going to matter. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we can move on. Toronto and Tampa Bay. This game ends up going to series ends up going to 7 games as well.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay ends up clinching it. They win 2-1 in their game 7. Sheldon Keefe with a class act in the handshake line, telling head coach John Cooper to go get 3 for their 3rd straight Stanley Cup. And with this game 7 loss, the Maple Leafs are the first team in MLB, NBA, NHL history to lose an elimination game in the opening round of the playoff 5 years in a row.
You just want to stick it to them, huh?
I do have another sad stat, too. The Toronto Maple Leafs have the longest active playoff series losing streak with 8 series losses. They passed Minnesota and Florida, who both have 7. Minnesota's streak is still active, including the one they just lost. So if they lose again next season, they can still tie. And then after their loss to St. Louis, obviously after their loss to St. Louis this year,
Yeah.
and Florida's streak has been snapped with their win over Washington. So they're safe from tying that up. So. And then a worst thing ever to cap it all off, Mitch Marner was carjacked at gunpoint by 3 men shortly after the series. The carjackers actually didn't know it was Marner, and they were just interested in stealing his vehicle. So, but that's wild, dude.
Shouldn't be laughing at that, but it's just like, what can get worse? And here's Mitch Marner just like, okay, yep, all right, cool. My car just got carjacked.
He's like, I'm out of here.
But I don't know. We literally just talked about the Washington Capitals and like, what can you fix? And here we are with Toronto Maple Leafs.
They made all the right moves. They had Wayne Simmons. They had toughness. They looked tough against the Tampa Bay Lightnings. They just got a shit matchup against the reigning, defending, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, and they couldn't get it done in 7. And it just sucks because if they lost in 6, I think the storyline would still suck because Toronto loses, but it's in 7, and now it's the Game 7 jitters, and they're 0-10, and there's all these other things that are piling up on top of them. And I don't think the team is really, at the end of the day, looking at it like a guy like Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, who hasn't been there for 0-10. They've been there for, let's say, 0-5, 0-6. Like, not around for all of these losses. It's just, It's not us. You know what I mean? It just happens.
It's just shit luck, I guess. But if I was the Toronto Maple Leafs, this offseason, very little changes would be made. This is a fantastic Toronto Maple Leafs team. They've been a joke to the league for how long, and this is a solid team. Jack Campbell, who it's weird to say, but I still don't take him as like a Stanley Cup winning type goalie. Like he's not that guy that can like get the job done. Though proved me wrong with that Lightning series. I think he played really well. Maybe some backup for Jack Campbell, maybe something, but I don't think you're going to see any huge changes or any big changes whatsoever with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I think the only issue they might run into is the fact that cap is screwed. We'll see where they land, but I think that's the only reason that they should and are going to make changes. I think it's really like there's no reason to outside of money. Like, you guys are set. You know what I mean?
Right.
We should be okay here. Just a tough matchup for them. But at the end of the day, right, like, you get that in the first round, but that means that there's going to be even harder teams to face in rounds 2, 3, and 4.
Yep.
So, I don't know.
You're facing a Lightning team that knows what it takes to win the Cup, and they've done it twice.
Yeah, and they haven't lost a playoff series since 2019, too. No. So, I am just not going to be picking against them going forward. Just I'm done. I'm done picking against them. We did have a Calgary-Dallas series here that went 7 games as well. Game 6, Dallas ends up winning 4-2 at home. I don't really have any notes on that one, but Game 7, Calgary won 3-2 in overtime. Johnny Hockey with the game winner from the goddamn Rockstar Zone. High shoulder on Ottinger. This was crazy. I'll let you cover the Ottinger stats because he's your guy.
Yep. Jake Ottinger, who Dallas Stars fans call Otter, put up 64 saves this game, second most all-time in a Game 7. But it wasn't enough to hold off the Flames. His .953 save percentage was the best save percentage by a goalie in a 7-game series. He also placed third all-time shots faced in a Game 7 series at 272 shots. Jake Ottinger was unbelievable this playoff series. It was insane to watch. You have the Dallas Stars versus the Calgary Flames, and I guarantee you I said the Calgary Flames won like 4, 5 maybe, and not expecting Jake Ottinger to be the absolute brick wall that he was. And this is the same dude that came straight out of Jake Ottinger was like BU, right? He came straight out of BU straight to the NHL and just like became like this brick wall that he is. In my head, he just took the starting spot in Dallas Stars.
Which is wild to me. Look at the beginning of the season. Holtby,
Antoine
Hudobin, Ben Bishop, and then him. He was 4 seed, and now he's the first guy. You know, that's crazy.
Just took over. That's exactly what I see, and I think he's gonna get a contract extension probably, and I think he's gonna be your top guy. And Dallas Stars this offseason might be making some moves with Holtby, maybe some Hudobin.
I'd like to see them sell low on a Jamie Benn or a Tyler Seguin. I mean, obviously try and get as much as you can for him, but Dallas had no business being in this playoff matchup and even taking it to 7 games.
Right.
Their top guys are not performing. It all fell on the shoulders of the young guys and I don't want to say no names, but the guys that you don't really think of that should be carrying the team in these postseason runs. Like, just no business being there, you know?
As a goalie, you could feel for Ottinger. Like, they could not... You understood that the reason why the Dallas Stars could not get any offense on Calgary, because Calgary is obviously like the better team just all around. And like you saw Ottinger in like the overtime and toward like the end of the third, and you're just like, we know where this is going to end, and it's not going to end in Dallas's way. It's just going to be that one shot that's going to get past Ottinger.
Fucking snipe, though.
And it happened, and just you saw Ottinger just deflated. But I think the biggest news, or the best thing I saw out of that whole ending wasn't even the Calgary Flames winning. It was just like all the Dallas Stars player just coming over to Ottinger and be like, listen, dude, you played on your head, bud.
That's going to be the biggest confidence boost for Ottinger in the future. Like, think about those games that you play when you lose, even in men's league, like 6-3, and they're like, holy shit, like, we would have lost by so much more if he didn't come up with those. 100%. And, like, that's exactly what he's feeling right now. Markstrom gave him huge props in the handshake line. I thought that was awesome.
That was awesome to see.
And
I just loved it, man.
I thought, I don't remember which game this was. I'm kind of thinking it was either 5 or 7. There were 2, like, young fans, like, I don't know, or, like, preteens, early teens. They had, like, the Calgary jersey, like, over their face,
heads, trying to fuck with them.
Casting, like, voodoo on the fucking Stars, and they end up getting the win. So I thought it was funny to see. And one little coaching note here, too. With this Game 7 under his belt, Daryl Sutter has coached the most Game 7s in NHL history with 11, passing Mike Keenan, Mike Babcock, and Claude Julien, who have all coached 10. And Sutter actually already had the most career Game 7 wins by a head coach with a 7-3 record, which is now 8-3.
That's awesome.
This guy comes in and turns organizations around. So I think that he's going to be tenured at Calgary for a bit and get paid. But we'll see. If he frees up on the market, I would say pick him up quick.
100%.
One last side note, too. I loved seeing Game 7 overtime for this series and Pittsburgh New York Rangers. Like, nothing is better than a Game 7 overtime. And I would kill to see a Stanley Cup won in a Game 7 overtime, dude.
God.
That is the best thing in the world. If that happens, I'm buying like whatever fucking DVD, whatever team wins it. It could be the fucking Columbus Blue Jackets, and I'll buy that DVD. Right. It could be the Arizona Coyotes winning it at ASU, 5,000 fans, Game 7 overtime, and they win it. Like, I would buy that so fast. Buy that. It would be like live barn footage, like terrible quality, but that's just like what I live for.
That's playoff hockey, man.
And then the last series we have to cover here is Edmonton and LA. Edmonton ends up winning in 7 games. Game 7 actually was a 2-0 win. Big shout out for Mike Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have any notes here. So
no, I was actually shocked they shut him out 2-0. LA really put up a fight against him to get him to Game 7, so it was actually a shock to see him not score.
That's a tight score too. Anyways, a 2-0 is not out of reach at the end of the game. You know.
Right. Yep.
So, round 2, baby. Here we go. You ready for this?
Well, let's do it. Round 2.
Colorado, St. Louis. As of today, series is tied 1-1. Game 1, we had an overtime thriller. Colorado wins 3-2. I think it was Josh Manson. It might have gotten tipped by someone else out front, but overtime winner. That was awesome to see. The guys were all going nuts celebrating. I think he was mic'd up too. It was cool to see him score, and then it's crazy how something like that turns like a group of grown men into a bunch of little kids, dude. They're just like screaming, yelling, going nuts. Yeah. Game 2, St. Louis bounces back and wins 4-1.
Massive win for the
huge.
St. Louis Blues. Huge.
And Binnington looked great in Game 1 as well as Game 2. That 3-2 overtime series did not tell the whole story.
Dude.
He had way more saves, way more zone time than the Colorado Avalanche.
Yep.
So he's really showing shades of Binnington here.
Mm-hmm. So something I wanted to touch up on, I was actually watching the game. I watched the game and then I watched the highlights again, and the highlights actually brought something to my attention. So the Avalanche's Nichushkin and Blues Falk fought for the puck coming down on Binnington, and then it ended up with Nichushkin crashing into Binnington and was received a penalty. With that type of play, should they have been considered a penalty or not? So in this play, it's Nichushkin and Falk coming past the blue line just together, and just the speed, just in general, and Falk kind of holding him. Nichushkin can't really see where Binnington is, and he doesn't like crash into him. He might have touches Binnington just a little bit, and Binnington just falls back into the net. In my head, especially as a goalie, especially when like a goal wasn't scored, the play was cleared. I couldn't see why this was a penalty, in my opinion.
All right, so there's a lot to this, and I'm hoping that we can get a little clip right here. I don't know if it'll even happen because it's kind of hard sometimes to get those, but
Right.
I think there's a lot of factors that play into this. First of all, I think Binnington sells this big time, but also pretty well.
Yeah.
I think the ref's angle on the play allows him to say, all right, Binnington kind of got smoked there.
Mm-hmm.
But when Nichushkin is coming into the net, he is tied up with Falk. But I think his body language says it all. I think he had time to avoid the contact or stop, and he chose not to because of the tie-up that he was with Falk, and he kind of thought he could get away with it. But he didn't exactly go in trying to hit Binnington. And the way that he connects with him, like the left skate is stopping, the right skate is not. And then Binnington looks like a goddamn bomb went off, like he's in an action movie
exactly,
and gets thrown into the net. I think that's a little bit of a sell job there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that goalies should also be able to be charged with an embellishment, which I don't know is ever.
I think we saw that with
Ronta
Ronta tonight, by the way.
Yeah. So that's where I'm getting to next.
Yeah.
But I think that goalies should definitely be on the table when it comes to embellishment calls because they're as dramatic as they fucking come. But where I'm getting to with the Ronta thing too is goalie interference calls this postseason have been complete garbage, dude. You can't tell what is and what isn't and what should be a goal and what prevented them from getting in there. Like, there's one, I forget what game it is. He gets clipped in the head, but his skates are in the crease. His head is out of the paint with the top-down view. Mm-hmm. He gets clipped. There's no shot on net yet. He's able to reset, and then they score, but they still call it goalie interference. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. And, like, there's no real clear-cut rule, and it almost looks like the catch rule in the NFL. Like, no one really knows, and it's kind of up to the refs. Like, almost like when they called up to Toronto last week that we talked about, and the whole Toronto booth was like, we don't know, bud. Figure it out. So...
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
I think goalie interference just falls on the refs at the end of the day, and it's kind of garbage.
It's kind of rough.
I think this season they focus on cross checks like we talked about. Next season they should look at the goalie interference calls because it's changed a lot of games and a lot of series
100%.
so far.
It's just unfortunate that one, Binnington did sell it, and I think you're right. He did sell it just beautifully, where just like the speed was there, and he did get hit. His stick flew to like the boards, and here he is like falling back into the net.
Like way into the net.
Way into the net. And obviously the play is not being... The refs aren't going back there and looking at the play. But when...
I almost feel like that puck was in the fucking corner, and he could have like literally stepped aside, let Nichushkin go into the net, and step back in and like...
Right.
He knew he could do that,
fine.
or he could get a power play.
Right. And it was just such a weird call to me, because especially in replay, in slow-mo, you're just like, okay, because in regular real-time play, you're just like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and I think along with the sell job of goalie interference, we're seeing a lot of high sticks getting sold, too. I feel like you see a high stick come up, and it's either like the corner of the visor, the top of the helmet, or like even the shoulder pad I think someone got away with. It hit him in the shoulder, and he just chucks his head back, and that's enough for the ref. When he's at that weird angle where it's like sticks up, hits the guy, I can't tell if it's shoulder, elbow, where. He throws the head back, and now that's a go. Like, that's 2 minutes.
Right.
And if there's blood, it's 4, but there's not going to be. You know what I mean? Like, I just think the sell jobs need to get out of the league, but it's working, so they're going to keep doing it, right? It's free
100%.
Power play.
Exactly. The last bit of notes I have for Binnington, there is a play that he had that right behind the net, he backhanded. If you're not a goalie, backhanding a puck with a glove blocker and like goalie paddle is pretty difficult. But he decides to like behind the net, backhand it over a bunch of players past center ice, and I'm like, holy shit! Like I know Binnington's like a solid like stick handler, but I know Marty Brodeur is part of the whole. Oh, he's not part of it anymore?
No, I was trying to put it on the notes. I just did a quick Google. He left in 2018.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to get it out there before you said something, too.
That's fine. Because in my head, I'm just like, isn't Marty Brodeur part of the... Because in my head, I was just like, maybe he's working with Brodeur.
Yeah.
But I feel like somehow his stick handling has gotten better. He's one of those goalies, just like Marty Brodeur, where just like... As I was telling you with Mike Smith when we were watching the Oilers game today before recording, that the Calgary Flames, they're dumping it in. They have to dump it to the side because if Mike Smith gets a hold of that puck, he could play that puck. Like he's a legit threat on like that goaltending side, which Binnington rarely is, and I feel like he's gotten even better with like his stick handling, which is what I've noticed.
Yeah, and I think it was a great call out to think that Brodeur is probably an aspect of it because of how good he was with it. But I think at the end of the day, Brodeur set up the program; it's all set, ready to go. And it's been operating for 4 years, obviously. But
right.
I think at the end of the day, Binnington's looking at his tool bag and saying, hey, Mike Smith, Ben Bishop is really good. Like, all these guys that can be a third defenseman or a breakout guy or just be useful in and outside of the net with your stick. Like, why not add that to the tool bag, you know? And we're going to talk about it later on. But
right. You're like a sixth player on the ice.
Antti Raanta tonight has an assist in a 2-0 win. Like, that's something that Binnington looks at and says, hey, I want to be able to,
help my team.
Impact the game even more. You know
Right.
what I mean? So you chuck that in the tool bag, and now you're even more valuable. So.
Right. He hasn't been pulling any of the other shit, by the way. I just want to let you know. There's no fake block of punches.
Not yet. Give it time, baby.
Give it time.
But we did have Colorado St. Louis. We did chuck our picks last week. You heard that. Our boy Josh here had Colorado in 5. We both picked Colorado in 6. Seems like this series might end a little sooner. It is a 1-1 series, though.
Oof.
I don't know. I feel very confident in Colorado.
Colorado out of... Yeah. With you.
I mean, a 4-1 win by St. Louis last night doesn't really bode well, but
no.
They were all over him game 1, so we'll see. Let's move on to the next one, though. Calgary and Edmonton. Calgary actually leads the series 1-0 right now, and the game is on as we're recording. End of the second, 3-3 after the Oilers went down very early, 2-0. So,
wow, okay.
Tied that one back up. There are very high stakes in this series as the two cities' councils have made a wager on the matchup. Every city council member in the losing city is expected to wear the winning team's jersey at the first meeting after the series, and the losing team's mayor will also be in full face paint.
That is awesome.
That is the most ridiculous Canadian nonsense I've heard in my life.
That is the most Canadian thing I have heard.
You ready for some more nonsense?
Yep.
Game 1, Calgary wins 9-6.
Whew.
An absolute blowout gong show, no defense having nonsensical game, and I expected nothing less from these two teams.
100%.
Ridiculous.
I wanted this so bad, by the way. Battle of Alberta. I want something crazy, and this is what we're getting.
Dude, after how tight of a series they had with Edmonton and Jonathan Quick, and now they're back up in Canada with Mike Smith, and the surprising aspect of this, I think, is Markstrom letting in 6. That's a lot, right?
Right, 100%.
But the Tkachuk clan is making sure that they show up to the game and support Matthew. But when Matt scored his hat trick the other night, Keith Tkachuk says, "No way, this is my favorite hat." Like word for word, you can read his lips. Hilarious.
Eat shit. I took it to the games all this time. 5:00 in the morning, bud. I'm not giving up my hat.
Yeah. And then Brady Tkachuk was actually caught drinking a beer and carrying 2 more in his back pockets, which is also against the rules of TD Garden. Just want to say that. You can only get 2 at a time.
Once you can hide it well.
But it also landed him a sponsorship from Budweiser, so there you go. How about that?
Oh, look at that.
We did have a nice little pot stir by Matthew Tkachuk on the ice, too, asking Evander Kane if he needed some money. And when he was in the penalty box, he called him a poor bastard. So this series is definitely getting heated up, no pun intended, and I'm loving every second of it. I hope.
The only thing I want in this Calgary Oilers Battle of Alberta series is for the referees to put down the goddamn whistles.
Yep.
Holy shit. We're watching the game at 4 and scrums were ensuing and the refs are like, nope, gotta stop this. You want fans to watch hockey? You want to grow the sport? bring back fighting, bring back playoff hockey. Daryl Sutter even said this, like, it's playoff hockey. Let these guys go. This is what we want. We're seeing scrums left and right, and the referee's like, nope, gotta blow the whistle, gotta call random high sticks for no friggin' reason, embellishment. Let them go. This is what we want.
We definitely had 3 guys in the box on one side, and I want to say 2 or 3 on the other. Like, we had full penalty boxes, and like, at the end of the day, like, I want to see them drop the gloves. Think about the heavy hitters on these teams, dude. Like the Milan Lucic, the Matthew Tkachuks, Evander Kane will throw them. I mean, there's guys on here, Zach Cassian, like, let them go. Let them play.
Shit comparison, but that's like bringing like the 1970s Bruins Canadian series and just like, nope, blowing the whistle, got to stop all these fights.
This is a rivalry.
Just aggravate everyone. Yeah, it's a huge rivalry, you know? I don't know. That's the only gripe I have with this series so far. And referees need to just put down the whistle and just let shit happen, you know, until it gets a little too far.
So yeah, we got a 1-0 series right now with Calgary leading, tied going into the third. So we'll see what happens here. We're gonna throw our picks out there. I have Edmonton in 7, and Matt has Calgary in 7.
Ooh.
So we'll see. I do think that this one will go the distance, and I hope it does. And I think whoever comes out of this is screwed in the conference finals. But
you want a curveball?
Go for it.
You want to get into the next category? Because I think this is going to be a massive curveball for everyone listening in.
Kidding me?
Florida versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay leads 2-0. Tampa, by the way, those 2 goals were away, which is a huge. That's crazy. That's crazy to me because home ice advantage during this playoffs was huge. And Tampa Bay is like, nope, I'm going to beat the Panthers at home.
Yes. Yeah, I think the fact that Florida was so tested by a team like Washington, then you come in and see a team like Tampa Bay with Kucherov, Hedman, Vasilevsky, like that fighting with Washington, and you can barely get past them. Like, this is going to be a smack in the mouth, and I think Tampa Bay is going to, at this point, going to sweep. But both of us have picked all 4 of these series to go the distance because the first round went the distance. And
boy, could I be wrong.
Right? It's crazy to even think.
And now Tampa Bay's home for the next 2 games.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be a sweep to the Florida Panthers, your beloved Florida Panthers jersey behind you. We're going to put that away in 2 more games?
Yeah, I think so. I would have put my Tampa Bay jersey up, but it got stolen off my front porch. So,
Thank you, Braintree.
Yeah, right. But, I don't know, man. I think Florida is the classic President's Trophy winner, and Tampa Bay, I will never bet against them. Well, they haven't lost a playoff series since 2019. So I got Tampa Bay in 7. And Matt, you had Florida in 7. And it's kind of tough seeing these picks now and looking at them back then. But I don't know. Do you have any more notes on them?
I got nothing. I'm just shocked, and I want to see more of this series. I still love it. I think I love the bet. I love Alberta even more, but I'll be shocked if Tampa Bay could come through and sweep the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, a sweep would be impressive, and I would feel so bad for Claude Giroux, who leaves the Philadelphia Flyers and just gets knocked, you know.
1,000%.
Even if they lose in 7, anything, just to see Claude Giroux walk sucks. I don't know. I hated the Flyers for the longest time when I was growing up, and I probably hate Claude Giroux a little bit deep down inside, but I don't want to see that. You know what I mean? And then the last series we have here is Carolina versus the New York Rangers, and Carolina is now leading the series 2-0 after a 2-0 win tonight. Game 1, they win 2-1 in overtime, and the hits just kept on coming in social media for the Hurricanes. They replied to a tweet from Bud Light to the New York Rangers that said they would pay for Rangers fans beers if they showed up to PNC Arena in Raleigh, and the Hurricanes told them, quote, "We already offer free water at our fountains." Gold. Yeah. Comedic gold. Nailed it.
Beautiful.
And
dude, this social media team has been on a roll,
kicking
all
ass
season long.
since like 3 years. I feel like everyone like poo-pooed them, like, oh, like you're being a dick to the Nashville Predators and like all these other teams. Remember the banner jokes?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
But yeah, I think they're kicking ass out there, and these cheap ass Rangers fans all show up to the fucking PNC Arena like free beer.
We noticed that tonight. We were watching the game Friday. It's just like it's all a bunch of blue jerseys there, but I don't know, free beer.
It was an awesome 2-1 overtime win. I want to say Seth Jarvis got the winner. I'm not 100% on that one. Don't burn me at the stake for it, but Seth Jarvis is having an awesome series, and we're going to cover right now Antti Raanta, a 2-0 win tonight, just stealing games for the Hurricanes, a shutout win, an assist on the first goal of this game, and the second goal was an empty netter. So Carolina's 6-0 at home. Antti Raanta just being a major factor in that first goal too, so good for him. It's crazy.
Antti Raanta is
going to be the Binnington story.
He can be. I don't see why not. We talked about Freddie Anderson and Antti Ranta letting in the fewest goals the entire season, and here's Antti Ranta, who is the backup to Freddie Anderson, coming in after what's his name? Oh God,
Peter Kochetkov,
and then he came in, and that's why I said the Bruins have a chance, because Antti Ranta's coming in cold. He's just coming in from being hurt, and Ranta's just like, no, go screw yourselves. I'm going to fucking shut the door. And here he is shutting the door for the Bruins. He's coming in shutting the door for the Rangers. And 2-0 win. That second goal is also a empty netter, by the way. So that 1-0 win was massive. Very tight game. So congratulations to Antti Ranta. Really showing us what you can do. The goal tandem right now with Igor Shesterkin and Antti Ranta for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Nope.
It's going to be a
you said
very
Shesterkin and Ranta.
I didn't mean
the goalie matchup.
The goalie matchup.
Okay, sorry.
Between Shesterkin and Ranta, I think it's going to be a very, very tight series, just like this 2-0.
Yeah.
2-0.
I think there's going to be 1 or 2 games that blow the doors off, but you're right. They are going to be low for sure.
All it's going to take is just that one little slip up, those type of games. Whereas this Calgary at Oilers, like Mike Smith can fuck up like 1,000 times, and still Calgary
Edmonton puts him on his back. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, we have a couple picks here too. Carolina in 7 for you, which is definitely possible. I feel like they're going to close it out sooner. But I have the Rangers in 6, which I don't feel so confident in. They got to win 4 straight now. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if they'll get that done. And then real quick, I just wanted to go back and look at our actual picks. So I had LA in 7, which is wrong. You have Edmonton moving on. We both had Calgary in 5 and 6, which is both technically wrong. Like, they went in 7. I had St. Louis, and you had Minnesota. And then we both had Colorado there. I had a sweep, and you had 6. And then Florida, I had them in 5, and you had them in 7. They won in 6. We both had Tampa Bay in 6 against Toronto. That went 7. We both had the Rangers. You had in 7. I'm sorry, you had in 6, and I had in 7. And then we both had Boston. Same thing, 6 and 7. So I think we're batting 500 there.
Oh yeah.
Both of our cup picks are still alive. I had Colorado. You have Florida, and your cup pick from the beginning of the season is also still alive with Tampa Bay.
Whoa!
So you got 2 options right now, which is nice. But we're gonna knock one of them out at the end of this round.
Thank you, past me. Yeah, I'm. So, what was I going to say? Sorry, I went on this tangent here, and I totally forgot. I wanted to jump into something. So we look bad going 500 with these picks, but I talked to a few coworkers that like betting. Like, they're huge into, like, betting on sports and everything. And we talked about hockey because they always ask me, like, oh, who do you got for this? Who do you got for that? And they always tell me hockey's so difficult, one of the most difficult sports to bet on because you have no idea where it's going to go. Baseball, they say baseball is pretty easy. Football, it could go either way, but when you look at stats or something like that, you're just like, no, it's probably going to lean this way. It's hockey that's just like, I don't know, there's a curveball in there somewhere, I
have a gambling friend that I talk to like after the fact. Usually he'll like come in and be like, when the Lightning beat the Panthers 4-1 game 1, he's like, bro, the Panthers suck. What happened? And I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, those 2 games, the first game of the second round, which was the Lightning Panthers and the Blues Avalanche series, I was like, I can tell you exactly who's winning those games. It's Tampa Bay and it's Colorado. The next series of the Rangers Hurricanes and the Battle of Alberta, Edmonton and Calgary, I would put $0 on that. That can go either way. Like, I have no clue. But I think Tampa Bay and the Colorado Avalanche just have what it takes, and I would be very confident in those teams going forward.
That Calgary Oil is, I'm 100% with them, but I think the most curveball, like, you could pick a team and just like hope they win is going to be the Rangers Carolina series, I think, in my opinion. I think that's going to go either way, whether you're a Rangers fan or Carolina.
Yeah.
But so look at this Battle of Alberta too.
I think at the end of the day, anything can, but that's what they look like on paper. You know what I mean?
Right, 100%. So, with that said, we are over an hour long with this episode. We had a lot to talk about. The round 2 did just start.
Interesting games for the weekend that'll already be wrapped up for you guys. We only have 1 game tomorrow at 8:00. The Avalanche and the Blues will play. That's Saturday night, and then Sunday we got 3 games, which is kind of weird. Then it goes back to 2 and 2 throughout the week. So let's enjoy those games. We'll see where we stand on Monday, and just so you listeners know, we're gonna record next Thursday. I don't know if it'll drop on Sunday or Monday. Let's hope for Sunday, but I doubt it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
maybe we'll get ahead of this round 2 matchups.
Here, yep.
Because it looks like if they go to 7, those games would be on Sunday and Monday of Memorial Day weekend.
Nice.
Also, happy Memorial Day to all you guys that won't hear it until next episode. So.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. Okay, with that said, you want to do our nip? And actually, one thing I wanted to say is that for everyone who listened in, who's listening, I just kind of want to remind them that for that hockeyedge.com, again, we'll have it in the description for you below for all the hockey listeners and hockey parent listeners who want to do something for the summer. So we'll have it in the link in the description.
Yeah, again, ages 5 to 14. Make sure you let them know the boys from Post to Post sent you. Enjoy it. That's awesome. Getting some time with Charlie Coyle, Connor Garland. That's time you'll never get back.
Jeremy
that's
Swayman
incredible.
is going to be there too.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's good. Yeah,
So,
they're always
names.
trying to line stuff up. So
It's going to be a great time. It's
Plenty- plenty of time to sign up too. It starts in July. So
yeah, it's going to be just like when I went to John Elkins goalie school. It was in Toronto, Ontario, and we played with like the OHL guys. Just a great time. You learn so much. Even as a kid, there's a bunch of like fives. I don't know. I wouldn't say 5, but maybe like 7, 8-year-olds. It just like had a great time, and you learn a lot. So
Yeah.
It's one of those camps, and you learn it from one of the best. You're in Massachusetts, one of the 3 M's. You know.
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Send it. Ship your kid out here.
Yep. Then he'll be like one of us. All right. So we both got Ciroc apple, and I'm actually
Smells really good.
It smells really good. My only gripe is that this does not look like a single shot.
Matt doesn't understand how glass works.
I really don't, to be honest. So
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Oh. Oh.
That actually mixed really good with this.
Didn't mix well with what I got.
I have a passion fruit goza, and I chased my shot with it, and the apple that was really good. 2 Roads, Connecticut. Drink it.
Connecticut.
Drink it.
Who lives in Connecticut?
Joe.
Oh, no shit.
Joe Mama.
Got him. Wow, yeah. I think because I mixed this Loyal with the Ciroc. You know, so our friend Tommy, we've been doing McGillicuddy's as of late. The menthol mint I like. The root beer I like. The grape one I like. There's no really bad Dr. McGillicuddy's. But he talked about peach. And in my head, I've never had peach before. We can't find them in sleeves. We can't find them in nips. Finally found them. And so...
I can look for you, too.
No, we already found them. So not last Saturday, but the Saturday before, our friend Tommy found a sleeve of nips. And he's like, let's do it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. To this day, Tommy's just like, I've never seen your face like that before in my life. That peach tastes like, you know when you're a kid and like the medicine just tastes absolutely terrible? It's one of those.
Yeah, but peach isn't like one of those flavors that I would be like medicine. You know what I mean? It's grape, it's cherry, you know?
Oh, man,
Peach, huh?
that might have been the worst. I was thinking about stuff like I've had on this podcast before, and that was just like I had to make sure it like got down to my stomach, you know? I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Jesus. Well, I am skating tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., so I got a quick 5-hour nap. And then I'm actually playing forward, so that'll be fun. I've been doing my 6 a.m. Wednesdays.
You're a man. You got this.
Be a man.
Want to call us out?
Thanks, everyone, for listening. If there's anything you want to see us cover next episode, let us know. Our links are in the description, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye, guys.
Peace.